From my earliest memories, starting with my mother and then Fayge, there was always a involvement with Shaare Zedek. You know, after the war, people like my family who had left everything and come to nothing, Shaare Zedek was emblematic of that hope for a new life.
My mother, being the children of Holocaust survivors and having survived the war herself, my grandparents and my mother were always involved in health, in making sure that people were well, and Shaare Zedek represented that.
So when Fayge and Mort were married and they moved to New York, it was the single organization that was closest to her heart. Fayge was passionate about Shaare Zedek, and she was tireless in her devotion for the hospital.
What she loved about her involvement was the people.
My mom had collections of different friends. She would meet one person from Italy, and then she would invite 20 people from Italy. Not that she knew any of them. You know, she had from all different countries.
And politicians.
Being the youngest grandchild, I always remember at the Shabbat table, there was always people from all over the place, and my grandma was always very open, and everyone was welcome into our house.
She was like a magnet for interesting people, and part of her people collecting was inspiring other people to feel the passion that she felt.
Fayge loved people, and she was a true Shaare Zedek lay leader, and was always thinking about how she could get more people involved to help the hospital.
I felt that her dedication to Shaare Zedek got me enthusiastic. She was dedicated to the organization and to her family, and she had a way of winning people over.
Fayge had exuberance. She had an all-encompassing smile. She embraced everybody. She had an optimism.
She always helped anyone who was in need, and that's also one of the things that she was very involved in and loved about Shaare Zedek, because Shaare Zedek was always trying to help people.
My mother-in-law had a deep love for Israel, and I think when she moved to Israel, she came full circle. She had raised money and done so much work for Shaare Zedek in New York, and now living in Jerusalem, being able to see the fruit of her labor, it was really so important to her.
In the last few months of my mom's life, my mom became very, very sick. And she was admitted to Shaare Zedek, and because of the efforts of so many of the people there, she was able to leave the hospital and go home. And she was home for about a month and a half. And I would say that month and a half was probably the most precious month and a half of her life. It was incredibly special for her.
People go through life and don't leave any footprints. Fayge left deep impressions, and I will miss her always.
My mother loved people, but more than loving people, she loved the idea of doing the right thing.
She was a doer, and she was a good doer. Her optimism, her heart, and positivity were really something to learn from, and truly embodied the values of our hospital.
If you are dedicated to your cause, you just put your whole heart and soul into it, and that's what she did. And hopefully, we will try to emulate Fayge for what she was.